welcome to This Week in Svelte, episode 118, which, fun fact, is one of the emergency numbers in Italy. So, like, if you call 118, it means that you are in trouble, like you're going to the hospital. This will be a very quick one because we have the changelog, and then at 4 I need to join the maintainers meeting, so we cannot have a showcase. So let's jump right into it because there is some very, very interesting release for SvelteKit. Okay. Okay, let's see what are some of the release. This is one very interesting release from the Svelte side, which is a fix for async hydration. So you may remember last week we had async SSR, and obviously with async SSR comes async hydration. So there were some small problem with async hydration. Again, remember this is all experimental. But yeah, now it's fixed, and there's also like they remove the outer hydration marker. I want to see this better because I actually didn't check this PR. Yeah, okay, so since now the SSR output already has there is a boundary next to them, there is already some hydration marker and we can reuse them. It's not a huge deal, but it's something that it will remove a bit of noise in the output. Restore hydration state after a wait in script. So there was a problem because if you were awaiting directly in the script tag, the hydration, so how the hydration works is that it basically march the DOM. So if you take a look at the compiled output of a Svelte component, you can see that, like for example, we have this input and this button, and we need to apply some listeners to them, right? So to get the listener, like to apply a listener to the input, I need to get the input. So as you can see, we are basically getting the root, and in the root we have an h1, an input, and a button. And so we create this fragment, and the first child is the h1. And so we do $sign first child fragment, and then the text is the child of the h1. And then we reset. And then we get the input, which is a sibling of the h1, skipping 2 nodes because those are comments. And then we remove the inputs default, like we do operation on the input, and then we get the button, which is a sibling of an input with skipping 2 nodes because those are the comments. So the point is that we are doing this thing here, and now if you are client-side rendering a component, this will generate new elements and return them into a fragment to you. However, if you are hydrating the HTML, when you do this, the root will actually not return you a new fragment, but it will return you the element that is containing the server-side rendered HTML. And so when you do first child, instead of actually getting the first child from a fragment, it's getting the next hydration marker, like it's getting the next hydration element, like it's querying from the SSR, the DOM. And so you can see that basically like it is marching the DOM, right? It is getting to the next hydration marker, and then it's doing first child, and then it's doing child. So you can guess that like this is a pretty precise operation, like you cannot screw that. And that's, for example, why like there are something that you can't do. Like if for the moment, if I want to do something like a select with a div inside, Svelte will prevent me to do it. There is a new parser in Chrome, which is, by the way, causing some problem for every framework, but regardless, you can't do this because the output of this will be different from the server-side rendered HTML. So if you try to server-side render something like this outside Chrome, div will just vanish. So you can't do this because if we see that you have a div inside the select, we try to read that div from the code, but in non-Chrome browser, it will not be there. And so if you try to hydrate, it will fail because it will assume that there is a div, but there's no in reality. So it's a pretty weird, like the DOM is very, very weird, guys. And so that's why you can't do this. And the problem was that if you were awaiting something in the script tag, like this, you can see that in reality, we have this async body here, so it's not really aborting. So like it's not really awaiting something, like it's doing this await save, which is a bit different from a normal await. And the problem was that it could happen that the hydration marker, like the current hydration marker, changed before the await, like before the await resolve. And so it was causing some problem in the SSL, like in the hydration. So that's what it was fixed. So now the hydration state that might have changed while the promise was resolving is now not, like it's now restored. Allow @HTML await and snippet with a sync content on the server. So this was not possible on the server, but it's nice because you can do @HTML and await some like content from the CMS, and you get that. This is pretty interesting. Like this is use Nginx SSI compatible comments for props ID. So props ID has a unique style of comments. Specifically, I can't remember, but I think it's something like this, where you have a comment with a number, and then this is an iterative incremental number. So for every time, every instance of the component will have S1 and then S2 and then S3, and then on the client it will either read this value or either read this value or generate a client one. So this is how props ID works. However, there are actually a lot of like proxy server like Nginx that use this kind of comments to do this SSE, which I don't know what it is. Yeah, there are command of some sort, like to basically to interact with the server. And so it was erroring out with Svelte props ID. And so I think this was actually his first PR. So welcome to, I don't know if it was the first PR, but welcome to the contributors. And you can see like it's actually pretty, like it was a pretty cheap PR, like it was an easy fix, but it's something that you can start with. Like if you want to contribute, don't worry, like it's not that difficult, as you can see. So yeah, that's pretty nice. We also have depend on reads of derived created within reaction in async mode. So even if you create a derived within, even if you depend, even if you depend, even if you read a derived within a reaction, so like an effect, this normally it will not count as a dependency of that reaction. So if you create a derived within a derived, or if you create a derived within an effect, in normal mode, it will not be a dependency of that effect or that derived. But now we actually need it for I suppose, yeah, for remote form field interaction. And so, yeah, and so like we now have like this was some sort of um, this was a sort of like mitigation, like if you are creating a variable within an effect and then read it immediately and then write to it immediately, like technically you are fine, like it will not cause an infinite loop if we don't have like if we don't have a dependency, like sorry, if we don't use that as a dependency. And there's really no reason to use it as a dependency, because if it's declared within the effect, it can get out of it. So it's not like you can do something about it. But it's like it was something that was actually needed for async and await, and probably we are talking about derived within derived. So pay attention now if you are inside in async mode and you are creating a derived within an effect or within a state, within a derived. And yes, that's it. SSR regression of processing attributes of select and option. And this is another like async class plus spread attributes were compiled into sync server-side code. So both of these were small regressions that the async SSR caused, even in normal SSR. So the processing attributes, like the attributes of select and option, were affected, and if you were using class colon plus spread, they were like it would not work basically. And so now this is fixed. I actually ran into this bug and then I forgot to report it. Sorry, guys. And there's also this, which is ensure tick resolve within a macro task. This is a pretty weird one because we are using tick to also invoke on navigate, for example, in SvelteKit. And so this meant that if there is a view transition happening, the tick under the hood, it's using queue microtask, I guess. No, it's using request animation frame. And basically, if you are using view transition, request animation frame will be very, very much delayed. And so since like this is also invoking on navigate and stuff like that, it will basically, like in async mode, was basically just like hanging out forever. And so now this is a very smart move from Simon. Basically, like which one of these gets executed first win. And so if we are using in async and there is a view transition happening, set timeout will fire first. Otherwise, request animation frame will fire first. This means that in some situation, tick will wait just a bit longer than request animation frame, which is the usual. But in those situations, without this set timeout, it would actually take way, way longer. So that's better. All right. Oh, I closed it. Svelte changelog. Sorry. Okay, so let me zoom in a bit more. I think that's it for Svelte. Let's see SvelteKit. We have six new release, and we start with the bang because in SvelteKit 2.43.0 we have experimental async SSR, which is like this is the moment where Svelte and SvelteKit went from like a super cool framework to the OP framework that like it's a game changer. Like this is literally like night and day in terms of DX. Like absolutely flabbergasting. And so this means that now you can actually use async inside your SvelteKit application. So to do that, you need to go into your Svelte config and do, let me zoom in a bit. So you have to go into your Svelte config and you need to enable SSR, obviously. Not SSR, sorry. You need to enable async. So we can do compile options, experimental async true. And so now we can actually use async, which means that like even just by this, it's super incredible. Like it's super it's so cool. Like you can literally just await stuff in the DOM and it will be server-side rendered, which is mind-blowing. So let's try to do products API. This is my favorite dummy JSON API. So we can do this, okay? And so if we are here, let's say that we remove everything else. We don't care about everything. So if we refresh, it's empty. Why it's not empty? Why it's not empty? I don't know. Oh, maybe it was. That might be a bug in Svelte Lab. Right, regardless. I can literally do this. Like I can say JSON.stringify. And I can do await this. Unless the experimental async compiler option is true. It is. When evaluating. Wait. Compiler option. Haha, that's why. Okay. I misspelled it. So, as you can see, I mean, we are getting the error anyway, but as you can see, like we are literally fetching within the component, like this. And let me actually do JSON.stringify null 2, just so that we get a better view of our thing. But the nice thing is like this worked already, right? So it's not a huge win as of today. Like this client side, this already worked, and notice there's no Svelte boundary. But now I can even do this. I can do export const client side routing is equal to false. So this does not have JavaScript, and yet it's still loading everything, and it's pretty fantastic. And this is particularly cool the moment you pair this with if we go in our Svelte config. Let me actually let's not stress our API. This is particularly cool if we go here and we do kit experimental remote functions true, because then I don't know why. Yeah, it's not. Come on. Okay. Because now with these two powers combined, I can literally just do this. I can say new file. I don't know, products dot remote.ts. I don't know if I have TypeScript installed. Let's do JS. And then I can import from $app/server. And actually, let's do this. Let's build a SaaS live. So I can do query, and I can do form, and I can do const products is equal query like this, and I can do async, and I'm gonna return const all products is equal an empty array like this, And then here I'm gonna return all products. And let's actually do the good old await new promise resolve set timeout resolve 1000 just to see it being slow. And now I get this product and I can just say, like, I can do script and I can import from products.remote.js like this, and I can do products, and now I can just do pre json.stringify await products like this, null 2, and now obviously for the moment products is not a function. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, because I need to export. Exporting would be good. So obviously now it takes 1 second and then it loads an empty array for the moment. Let's actually change it. Add products, product, and we can use the form. And the nice thing about form now is that I can do npm I valibot, for example, and I can import all sv from valibot like this. And now the form is much nicer. Npm run dev. It's much nicer because the first argument of a form can be a v.object with the various product that you want to add. So you can say, for the moment, name is a v.string, and let's say price v.number maybe. And actually, I don't think you can do it. I need to do, like, this is something, I can't remember the valibot API. I think it should be v.transform. Let me check. Valibot transform. Yeah, to freely transform the input I can't remember. I mean, there is an example of it in the Svelte docs, so I'm gonna cheat and go there to see. Docs, Svelte kit, remote functions, form, because it always needs to be a string, the first argument, like it always needs to be an input string, but you can do something like this. Yeah, okay, so, oh, okay, it's the second argument of transform. That's the syntax that I was looking at. So I can do like I want a name and I want a price, which is a string. So I say v.string, and then I can transform this into a number like this, and then I can say that is a v.number. And then the second argument is my async function. And here, the nice thing is that I get the name and the price directly. And those are also in line. So like, this is literally a string and this is literally a price. And so what I can do now is that I can say all products.push name and price, and let me format. I cannot format. And I also want to say that whenever you invoke this, you are gonna refresh. So I can do await products dot refresh. So by doing this, I basically unlocked one flight mutation. So whenever I mutate with add product, it will return also the new value of products. And so it does not need to do an extra API call to get them. So if I refresh this, obviously, what is happening? Let me see. Got add product. Did I mess up something? Did I mess something? Remote 11.8. What? Oh, const. Yeah. Okay, so now this is obviously loading, but the nice thing now is that I can have a new form here. And actually, let me put it on top. And here I need to have an input of type number for the price, and an input of type text. And now I can import my add product. And the only thing that I need to do is I need to spread add product like this. And this is very nice. It's gonna change soon, the API, so don't trust it too much for the moment. But the nice thing is that I can have also auto-completion for the name. I can do name is equal to add product dot field, if I'm not mistaken. And this is auto-completed. Now, it's not TS, I think. I don't know if I have TypeScript enabled in this project, but if I did, no, maybe I don't have. Okay, it's fine. But yeah, basically I can, this is typed, so you cannot, this is something that it was always annoyed by me, in my opinion, is the fact that you can't add, basically there was no connection between your actions, what your action expects, and what you actually have in the HTML. Which was a bit problematic. So this is expecting a price. So we do this, price, price, and obviously we also need a button, send, like this. And so this is all we should do. And now I hope technically, I can add a name, I don't know, iPhone, I don't know if it's iPhone 17 Pro Max, price, too much to be fair. And now when I send, I get an error. What error do I get? Is it still doing the SSR transform script, convert program? Prop, name and 11. Oh, it's not correct. Let me see. Maybe I messed up the. I would love to add TypeScript to this thing. Let me see. v.pipe. I think it is correct though. Oh no, you know why it's not correct? Let me see if I can fix it by myself. I just want to do it. You know why it's not correct? I think is because the third option is not a parameter of transform. No, but it was. What am I doing? This should be v.transform. Let's see. Okay, first try. So let's say price 1,000. I send. I still get an error. Do I get some info about the error? This operation is not a function. Okay, I think I need to copy it. Let's see. Price is equal to v dot pipe, not v dot transform. Oh gosh, I am a silly guy. Sorry guys. Yeah. Okay. iPhone 100 send, and now it's working. No, it's not working. Refresh is not a function. I think I then don't need this probably. Let me try again. Gosh, I need to try them better. I swear I started doing it. I'm gonna sell myself 100 send, and now it's working. Okay. Sorry guys. So as you can see, like it is pretty cool because if you see like inside our code, like the form experience is top level in my opinion, but even just getting back the information is just so wonderful. I'm gonna sell the Svelte merge for, yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. So yeah, this was just to showcase the brand new release of experimental async SSR. Create separate cache entry for non-exported remote function queries. Consistently use bare import for internals. So the experimental async SSR was importing stuff which were using the imports from like the packages on imports, and this was causing some problem. Ensure rendering starts off synchronously. So by default, rendering starts synchronously. Keep serialized remote data alive until navigation. So yeah, the serialized remote data is the data that, like, when you invoke a remote function on the server, it will serialize the data and store it in the client, so that then the client does not have to do another fetch call. Web container async local storage workaround. So we are using async local storage under the hood, and it was not available in web containers. I think in some specific situation, because I've used it anyway. Like I think it only really matters if you do get request event. I don't know, but the problem is it was not available, and like we did a small workaround to make it work anyway, so that you can use Svelte Lab and Stack Blitz. But yeah, it's a bit of a hack, but it is only applied when you are in a web container, so it's fine. Include the value of form submitters on form remote functions. Okay, that's interesting. So it's like this was a bug, because if you submit something with a button, for example, it should include that value in the list of values. So fix web container again. Probably fallback to non-relative resolution when calling resolve outside an event context. So before async SSR, if you called resolve, which is to determine, like basically with resolve, you can pass the root ID and some parameters to get back the actual URL, and it's fully typed. But it is now using event local storage, async local storage. So in SSR, it was now not possible to use it. And with this, it was actually working. So like this is a fix to make it work even outside. New release for enhanced image, upgrade Sharp, which is the library to do image manipulation. 2 new release of Svelte package, handle import export name blah 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 when resolving aliases, and resolve more alias issues. That's nice. Vit plugin Svelte, remove unscopable global styles warning. So basically you will, like Vit plugin Svelte was throwing a warning in case you had global style, global unscoped style in your application. So let's say that you have like a literal global body, That's like, it was throwing a warning, but sometimes this is actually useful, so it was removed. Remove automatic configuration of roll down option optimization inline cause, because latest version of roll down Vite has enabled it by default. So that is nice. ESLint plugin Svelte. Fix no navigation without resolve, properly detecting absolute and fragment URL in variables, properly support Windows no unuse props rule fix, valid style parse, preventing infinite loop in multiple rules. Yes, we have extension. There is a new extension. Oh, this is actually something that like there is. I can never remember names when I'm live streaming. James, here it is. There is James from the AITNE initiative, that it's an absolute chad and is going left and right all over the GitHub ecosystem, like the JavaScript ecosystem, to fix slowness. And so like it actually did a couple of PR tricks to basically make Svelte check much more performant. And I think there will be a live stream after, like, I don't know at which time, where they actually try this on Immer, which is a pretty big Svelte kit application, and like it got surprising good result. We have SV now import define config from vtest config. This is just something that allow you to use the right define config and don't get errors if you don't have any test. Svelte check, again, there is some perf. It's basically the same release. ESLint parser, show proper parse error position, which is good. And I think that's actually it. We do have a question, so from Lorenzo, fellow Italian, and I have lost my connection, obviously, so I need to refresh and probably restart my YouTube thing. Okay, let's try again. Okay, let's see. So let me do this, highlight, can we see it? Okay. Do you think that the form remote function is going to interact well with the accessibility libraries? To be fair, I don't see why not. Like, yeah, I don't see why not. Like there's no accessibility in the form remote function itself. And you still need to bake in the and it's covering me, so you still need to handle your ARIA functions and stuff like that. So I think it will work fine. If you have any specific question regarding some specific thing, feel free to ask. Okay, I think that's it. One thing that I want to ask you again is if you can compile this once again. I know I'm being pushy. I'm asking a lot of times, but we are getting some pretty serious result, in my opinion, with the brand new MCP server. So recently I've been working on the Svelte MCP server, the official Svelte MCP server, which again is getting some honestly pretty good result. I'm gonna show you some result, but to make it very, very good, like the better like we can make it, we need to know what stuff the AI constantly gets wrong. So for example, we know that the AI tends to import runes. We know that the AI tends to use derived with a function. We know that it tends to not even use runes at all and stuff like that. So if you are using AI with Svelte and you want to help us build the best MCP server possible, you can go to the link that I've just sent and fill out this form. And we're gonna go over the response and try to figure out a way to make AI smarter in that situation. And just so that I want to show you, because I'm very excited about this, I actually got some pretty cheap model to write proper Svelte 5. So I actually got GPT OSS 20 billion. Like, this is an AI that you can run on your phone, and it produced some decent Svelte 5 code. It's not the best Svelte 5 code ever, and at one point it will basically stop because it's not smart enough. But you can see that I asked him to generate a Minesweeper, and it did it, and it works. As you can see, like, it has some problem with like the colors, but that's also part because of the playground, which has some basic style. So if I do body if I do global body, like with plugins Svelte would have warned me, and I do color black, I guess it should work better. Nope. I don't know. I mean, let's do this just for like background. Let's do color black here. Should work. Yeah. So as you can see, like, it did it. Like, it's not pretty, it's not super good, like it does not have like left click handling, but it is working, and it is Svelte 5. Like, it even used some, like, these things does not need to be state, and they're not state, but the things that needs to be state, they are actually state, and it's not using effect, it's not using so it's writing decently good Svelte code, which is good in my opinion. And again, this was a pretty like mild model. Like, it's not a big model, it's not a smart model, so you can imagine what it could do if we had a more smart model. And this is another very interesting thing that I did. So basically, like, how the MCP will work, other than providing documentation, is that it will provide suggestions to the LLM. And you can see, like, I asked the LLM to create some input with a double binding where you can write in either of the input and it will convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit. And it started with this, which was surprisingly good code, to be fair. And this is GPT 4.1, by the way. But it was importing $state from Svelte. And so now the MCP server is saying, hey, the $sign prefix is resolved and cannot be used for variables. And so it changed it to this, which now is Svelte 4 code, because why stick to the plan? And so now this is Svelte 4 code, but we want to write Svelte 5, and so now $: is not allowed in rules mode, use derived. And then it did something like this, where it used an effect instead. And now technically this is proper Svelte 5 code, and it's fine. However, there's still a problem, because effect, like, you are assigning state in effect, which is kind of a bad practice. And so this is actually, I mean, there is another problem, like Celsius is updated but is not declared with state, so it will not update. And so the LLM is now changing that to state, but now it's reassigning, it's back to importing from Svelte. Now it removes that, and now the stateful variable state is assigned inside an effect, which is generally considered a max practice. Consider using a derived if possible. So it's hinting the LLM that maybe you don't want to do that. And now you are passing a function to derived when declaring derived Celsius, and instead you should use derived.by. And so now it's using derived.by, and there's no suggestion, and it works. And I mean, again, this is GPT 4.1, which is not very good, like it's number 47 on the Svelte bench. So yeah, it's not very good at writing Svelte 5 code, and yet it was able to write pretty good code. I'm very, very excited about this thing, and we're gonna release it soon, so pay attention to that. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you guys next Friday. I hope you enjoyed this week in Svelte, and I hope you learned something. See ya!